Alright gamers, welcome to my first video in a while, my first actual gameplay video anyway. This game we're going to be trying out Jinx, who just got buffed, got extra range on her Q as well as more damage on her E, mainly the extra range on her Q. For the early levels only, it still scales up to the same range later on. It's going to be the biggest buff here. Obviously, by the way, so if you've seen my previous video, you'll know this is commentary that was added after the fact. I'm not commentating this as I go, so I already know this was a banger game. It's going to be well worth your time. On top of testing out the buffs, we're also trying out a, just a movement speed build that I've been enjoying with so many different ADCs lately. I'm a little bit rusty. That was kind of awkwardly forced onto the Varus there, but... oh well. Anyway, yeah, the build is going to be either Kraken Slayer into Swifties and Phantom Dancer, or Yuntal into Swifties and Phantom Dancer. You get a little bit more movement speed, obviously, if you go Kraken Slayer, but overall, I do actually prefer the Yuntal. It really just depends on whether I can base on a BF sword or not. This game, I believe we couldn't base on the BF sword, so I just ended up going for Kraken Slayer. It's not my personal preference, but it also works just fine, as you're going to see in this game. So I'm going to throw a low W at Braum here eventually, because he's just standing in a spot where it's ridiculously easy to hit him. Wanted to leave and go ward or support work on whatever he's doing, but that was just a really free hit. Yes, we're able to land a lot of damage thanks to the... well, maybe some of that wasn't exactly due to the buff, but it certainly helps a lot. And so here... right as we're getting into this fight, I decided to put my level 3 point into a second point in the queue rather than leveling traps. This is because it's nothing to do with the buff. Like, you actually technically gain less out of each point in queue, range-wise, than you used to. Because now it's, like, less dependent on levels and more just, like, you get more of the range up front. But in general, though, the attack speed you get from each point in queue is actually pretty nuts. Like, you're almost doubling the amount of attack speed that you're getting from minigun when you go from rank 1 to rank 2. It's pretty big, so if you're getting into a fight, I actually do like the level Q. I mean, there is also circumstances where leveling E can work, right? But that's more aggressive and more like, I already know I'm going to win the fight, so I'm going to try and secure a kill out of it. Whereas for me, the leveling Q level 3 is more of a, yeah, this is going to give me better chances of actually winning the fight. I'm assuming also that I don't need peel. Anyway, going to be aiming for a dive onto these guys here. A little bit risky, but... I messed up there, taking aggro. I kind of assumed somebody was already going to be taking aggro, but I think Varus just flashed their damage, so it ended up being me that took the aggro. Bit awkward, but oh well, nobody ends up dying here. Could be worse. So we're going to go ahead and recall. And so we're going to pick up the double longsword and the dagger. I was pretty close to being able to get that BF sword, but since I couldn't get it, technically actually what I could have done was I could have gone for Cole and the longsword and then a dagger, because I did actually have 100 gold extra. So basically with 100 gold extra on my recall, that means one of my longswords actually could have been a Cole, and that does give you a little bit of flexibility where you're not like committed into one longsword too many for Yuntal, so you could still go for the Yuntal if you happen to get BF sword on a future base. But yeah, it didn't occur to me at the time, I guess, or I just wanted to try the Kraken Slayer just because I could only afford those components anyway, so I didn't want to overly force trying to go for Yuntal. Okay, I mean... yeah, like I was a little bit tilted that I wouldn't just block a free Braum Q for him. Because he wanted me to sacrifice my HP for him to get a good recall, even though he could have just recalled further back. It was a bit silly. So he decided to troll because I wasn't doing that for him. Oh well, it's not ideal that he just gave him a free kill, but on the bright side, I mean, he mostly plays decent after that and doesn't actually troll on purpose besides that one death. So it could be worse. At this point though, I've lost so much HP from just tanking all of their poke while trying to secure CS on their turret. And we have Rakan entering the lane again here, so like I'm going to have my support, and with my support in theory, we're in a position where we could fight. We're not going to fight if I'm 30% HP, so we're going to recall, take the L, drop a wave, get my HP back. And then when I'm back in lane, then we're actually ready to do something. Especially with this potential Viego gank that's happening here. And you can see they're going to be getting counter ganked by Ivern here, so I'm nearly here, so they're kind of over chasing there, and yeah, Varus just happens to get caught out by my E. Way over chased. He didn't even react instantly once I placed the traps, so ends up getting him killed. And as Jinx goes, I mean, one person dies often leads to a second guy dying. Great. Also, yeah, obviously on that recall I ended up committing to the that component anyway, so you can clearly see even if I had like done the whole coal thing, like second base still wouldn't have been anything useful for Yuntal. So that was a really troll W. Like if we're going for a dive here, which we clearly are, I needed to save that W until it was easier to land. Ended up realizing as well here, by the way, unlike the previous time, which it was a mistake for me to take aggro because I was so low and that was needed for DPS, this time I'm full HP and I can easily just leave the turret range. So I took the aggro, which was the best call. Cleanse the exhaust there. Unfortunately, Rakan, for some reason, was just really far away. Wasn't able to follow up in time for Viego to survive there, but overall still a really good play. This channel, honestly, probably not even needed. Pretty sure if Varus just died too fast to do anything to me anyway, then, I mean, Braum wasn't going to be killing me. Bit of a silly W there, but happens. Now, I probably should just be leaving. But then I also just massively messed up using my W there, because I had to leave because I was in turret range when I threw my W. Needed to make sure I wasn't getting the aggro, but then because I'm walking back as Shen is diving in, yeah, just if it wasn't a misplay from me, then at the very least it was just like very bad coordination from the two of us. Obviously, I mean, that's, you know, it's we don't have voice comms in League of Legends, so miscoordinations are kind of standard, unfortunately. But yeah, it definitely could have been better played, and to be honest, I definitely think I could have played it smarter. I should have just hung around doing nothing until Shen finally landed a Z. Then when he landed a Z, that would have been a free W for me to land. That just, you know, playing for that would have been just the safest choice. Okay, so now we got the level 6, and we also have Kraken Slayer, so we have a massive lead over Varus. Now, what do you guys think? Do you think the enemy bot lane are going to respect this massive power spike advantage that I have, or do you think they are going to try and fight us? Place your bets. You're going to find out soon. Rakan finds a nice cheese there, so we're going to go ahead and gauge onto the Braum. Yep, you can see he's popping forwards. Varus goes for the ult, is trying to kill my Rakan. I don't have cleanse, doesn't matter because Varus is just standing in my range, so I just melt them. And poor Braum also dies because of my passive. And yeah, very easy fight there. I think in a sec I'm going to check my Kraken Slayer stats there because I was like, wasn't this a huge power spike and they chose to fight me with it? How much damage did I get from this? I believe it was something like 400-ish. Maybe I'm going to check now when I'm on this turret. Yeah, 461 damage from the Kraken Slayer during that one single fight. And I only checked because I saw Varus' items. I think he only has a recurve bow. Yeah, recurve bow and an amp tome. I saw that and I was like, wait, really? He has those items and they chose to fight? Both of them chose to fight? How much damage did I get from my Kraken Slayer? Yeah, way too much damage. Anyway, yeah, so this is, you know, Kraken Slayer into Swifties, already making some good headway onto the build at only 10 minutes into the game. Yeah, if you were looking for a game where I, you know, surpassed huge adversity to carry, this is not it. I got massively ahead this game. There were a mixture of good jungle ganks, just outplaying, and enemy disrespect. It's still a very, very interesting game, I would say, overall. Certainly it was really fun for me to play. I can't remember if this was one of the games that was like super one-sided for my team. Or if it was like only one-sided because I was so ahead, but I seem to recall it wasn't like a super hard, fast stomp, you know? There was still a lot of chances for the enemy team to come back. At this point, obviously, I'm so ahead, I can just massively disrespect here, try and land some damage on the Braum. I've got all summoners up as well as a pretty important factor here. And Viego's also fighting Ivern over there. Obviously, didn't want to get ganked by Ivern, so I had to flash away. It was definitely a surprise though at how hard they ended up forcing there, but alright, this is probably going to be us trying to dive the Ivern again. Again, really not smart W from me there. Honestly, I need to be... Oh, I actually died there, damn. Yeah, I actually needed to be waiting for somebody to both CC him to make sure my W was free. It landed anyway, but that also ended up being to my detriment because I got aggro before anybody had actually taken the aggro. I couldn't, you know... Again, if I'm low HP, I cannot be taking the aggro there. Whereas if I'm full HP, it could potentially sometimes be an option, but it was completely a non-option here. I was so shocked this didn't land. I guess I was so far away, but like, man, I threw my ult so early into that recall and it just wasn't enough. Oh well. And then I realized, oh, I could have saved that for Aurora. So after shoving in that wave, we go clear some vision, and then we go try and annoy this Varus. So every time you hit the turret when you've got Kraken Slayer proc, it doesn't get wasted on the turret, so you can very easily just pressure people under turret like that. Especially on Jinx because of her absurd range. It's actually just such a crazy strong early power spike. I do prefer the Yuntal overall. Nice W. But man, the early game power on Jinx. Here again, it's fine for me to take aggro, by the way, because I'm a ranged champion. So look how easily I can just escape the range when Varus is dead. Because I know I don't have to tank it for long anyway, because Varus is going to die very soon. So in that situation, I can't tank the turret. And I ended up just taking almost no damage from it anyway, just because of all of Rakan's shielding. So super free there. The big mistake is when I'm taking aggro and I'm 30% HP. That's not supposed to happen. Because it gives me no time at all to do any DPS before I already have to leave. So here, what was my logic for continuing to push? I don't remember, but there's probably something about... Oh yeah, I see the enemy Ivor on top side, for example. We know Aurora's mid. Was there something else? Oh, do you think Varus is going to try and fight me while I still have this massive item lead, by the way? Honestly, he came closer to winning than I would have expected. I assume he probably had Barrier there, and I didn't. Well, I don't have Barrier, I have Cleanse, but... He also, like, didn't ult, and I did. So, honestly, it is a bit weird that he even came that close, but... I mean, again, the actual outcome, can't say it was really shocking that I would... win that fight. You can see me typing in chat about that. Yeah, if he had his first item, I mean, yeah, he probably would have stomped me there, but man. Even fighting him in the wave, it just wasn't enough. Like, I'm just way too ahead, so a bit silly. But anyway, at this point, we finished the Phantom Dancer. So at this point, if you see there, I've got 443 movement speed. By the way, for the runes with this, I generally like to run Magical Footwear. Because, you know, extra, what is it, 10 movement speed you get from that, I think? Is pretty nice. You don't need to stack, like, all the movement speeds with all the other movement speeds, but it does end up being really satisfying later on. And also, I mean, especially if you are doing Kraken Slayer over Yuntal, for example, you know, like secondary sorcery, having Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm, they mostly scale well when you're doing a full crit build, so if you're running even just like one non-crit item as your first item, that already decreases the value of those runes, so in general, like, you know, there's pretty much no ADC that doesn't build crit that would go for Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. And you could still do it on a Kraken Slayer Rush ADC who transitions into crit, but it's just not that big a deal, so if there's any doubt that you might not even go for full crit, then yeah, you can definitely go for Magical Footwear, which is fine even if you are doing full crit, right? Anyway, poor Aurora. Oh, and in this game I ended up going for Cosmic Insight instead of Cookies. Usually I go for Cookies, I would say they're generally the better choice. But I think it was the fact that I was supposed to be really dependent on Cleanse this game, facing both Braum with his passive and also Varus with his ult, that ended up biasing me towards Cosmic Insight, because I wanted to have as much summoner uptime as possible. Yeah, you can see I'm so goddamn ahead, so that Braum ends up losing his life for trying to delay me taking this turret, which I still end up getting anyway. See what Aurora can do here. Doesn't look like she can do a whole lot of anything. I didn't barely even do anything there, mostly just died to Viego. I wonder if she didn't notice him in the area. Yeah, and so now we're just taking control of the enemy jungle. My team are about to chase Ivan. I can see the way this is going. Like, yeah, this is not a situation where they really need my help. Like, he's just going to be running towards our turret, and because he's running away from his side of the map, like, it's very unlikely to turn into a proper fight. So I just go for the mid wave, push that in. Then we go group with a team again, but there was just no point grouping with a team just to chase this Ivern and dropping a wave for it. You know, maybe I end up securing the kill, which is nice for me if it ends up being 300 gold, but that's, you know, it's not 300 gold pulled out of thin air. It's 300 gold that would have gone to one of my allies, so it's inherently not very valuable if I know the kill is going to happen with or without my help. So in general, yeah, we just keep trying to rotate mid for every single wave, push back. This is extremely safe for me to do, by the way, compared to how it usually would be. This Braum apparently was just bluffing. He doesn't actually have any help. Yeah, because I have so much movement speed, every single time that I go for mid waves here, like, there is some concern. Like, man, I'm alone, my support is not with me, we don't have vision. I could get caught out here, but It's honestly so much safer when you have this build because, Jesus, you literally have... I think at this point I do have like 60 more movement speed than I usually would do if I just didn't have any Zeal items, or, you know, if I was just going for a regular crit build and still didn't have my Zeal item yet, for example. It's nuts. Going for the Lord Dominic's third item? No, sorry, actually we ended up going for Mortal Reminder this game. I think my decision, like overall, it doesn't really matter too much, I think, whether you go Infinity Edge third item or whether you go for an Armor Pen item third. It really just depends, like, do they have enough armor to justify the Armor Pen? Then you can do that. Do you want a cheap Power Spike? Then again, Lord Dominic's might make more sense. Otherwise, you can just go for Infinity Edge. But this particular game, I think they've got a lot of healing, mainly just from Fiora and with maybe with the Iron's Redemption, was it? Ended up choosing the Flash here. Trying to land a little bit of damage, but honestly, I'm just being too unsafe. I don't have any teammates around with me, so I'm gonna try and run here. I think, believe it or not, I do believe I survived this. Do you think I would have survived this without this build? I do not think so. Nice. And then debating the Brahmin to a death. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, 60 free movement speed, guys. Well, I say free. It's not free if you're dedicating your entire goddamn build to it. That's, you know, you're very much paying a lot of gold for all that movement speed. I definitely fucked up with my positioning here, but thankfully I dodged all of Aurora's stuff, so I don't end up dying. Usually, yeah, I couldn't have afforded to play that aggressive. I just got lucky. Now we can chase her because she has no cooldowns. Maybe I can land a W on her. Fine, Valkaz ends up killing her. And now I believe... I mean, we see almost all of their teammates are all on mid lane or running the bot side jungle. So what exactly am I going to do here? Am I just going to push bot? Looks like it. It looks pretty safe. We have some vision in their jungle as well. And my team is also just starting to take over their jungle. I'm a bit low for joining my team, I think. Usually could be an option. But even if I wasn't... also, like... I just want to grab waves, right? I have a lot of... access to a lot of farm here. Especially if none of the enemies even, like... try and actually defend this turret, then I also get a massive influx of gold from taking this turret as well. We see Braum moving down now. As far as I can tell, it's just him, though. Even if I die at this point, for the record, it's probably okay. But also, again, guys, I've got this full movement speed build. It is so hard for them to catch me out. And the funny thing is, like, I can see them chasing. I realize in their minds, they don't realize why this is so stupid, but they haven't noticed, probably, that I am just absurdly faster than I should be. So I'll run to a ridiculously safe spot here. There's no chance of them just, like, cutting me off, because they just can't keep up with me. So at this point, we have some vision on the left, so I know that the Aurora, whoever it was, can't just be catching me, but eventually I have to retreat. Somehow, I don't think she even passed the vision there, weirdly, but I figured it was unlikely she would already be there, at least, I guess. But anyway, finish the Mortal Reminder. And we can also get a Crit Cloak. Okay, so now my team wants to be doing the... Oh, I forget the name of that buff. I've not played League in so long, guys. You know, the thingy, the spawns at 20 minutes. Atakan, there it is. Got it eventually. My team aren't actually in position to start this right now, though, especially my jungler is still pretty far away. He's even stopping for wolves. So in the meantime, I'm just going for the mid farm. Again, potentially, at least in certain scenarios, could be quite risky to do with my team just completely on the opposite side of the map, but I don't feel unsafe at all when I have this build, guys. It is ridiculous, like, how much more unsafe you can play without it being unsafe, if that makes sense. Fortunately, one of my teammates does get cut out. That is the downside of that still. Throw my ult at them, they end up taking a lot of AoE. I did not see how Aurora got there, but alright, let's try and fight her. At least I end up surviving. Kind of an awkward redemption for me there, but... Now, I believe, I mean, somebody's in a flank position, right? So at this point, I have to play pretty goddamn safe. Like, I'm kind of afraid to commit into a position where I could end up getting flanked by whoever was behind me. Maybe I'm, like, maybe they actually weren't behind me anymore, I'm not sure, but... Since I wasn't 100% sure, I didn't want to risk giving them just a free kill, especially because I'm very important to keep alive right now. I'm also just very awkwardly positioned here, but we'll be able to chase down the Aurora. I just need to make sure I'm not getting one-shot by her abilities, because I know I do sometimes get cheesed by her non-ultimate abilities. I forget how much burst they do. But in the end, we got 2 kills. Hopefully should be able to get a turret here. Braum is using a shield to try and stop me hitting the turret. So bear in mind, I'm not actually dealing a whole lot of damage to this turret, because obviously my build right now, a whole lot of the damage is in the Kraken Slayer. Oh, my Kraken Slayer procs don't actually hit turrets, right? So I'm not actually pushing turrets as fast as you would want me to at this stage. Trying to land some damage onto the Iron there. Can't do a whole lot. Remember, I mean, I've got so much movement speed and attack speed. I can auto-attack the Fiora just so safely there. I have all summoners up as well, so... But anyway, because my team weren't supporting me, they just wanted me to back off. I ended up backing off as well. Okay, that was a pretty silly teleport from Aurora. I guess Iron can survive it. Again, awkward redemption for me. But it's all good. Now maybe we can do something with the Fiora here. We managed to slow her at least. Don't want to get hit by that Iron Q. End up getting hit by the Verisalt. We have to cleanse that. Alright, squeeze out some damage here. Nice one, bro. I'm starting to run out of mana here a little bit as well. I don't want to get caught out by Fiora's one-shot, so... Well, one-shot attempt. I don't know if she could have really killed me there, but... You know, she felt confident, like she had a plan, so I just trusted her that she had a plan and flashed. If I end up getting hit by some unexpected slow or, like, ridiculous burst, it could really screw me over, so the safest thing to do is just flash before considering whether she actually had a plan in flashing on me. Or whether it was just some silly desperation play. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not sure we're going to be able to end here. So yeah, I ended up making the call here to just take the portal. Once I've taken the portal, there's no way for me to get back into the enemy base. So that signals to my team. It's not just that I'm saying, oh guys, I think we should retreat. It's like the moment I exit the portal, like they already know that I cannot get back to them. So I've officially made the call. They have to follow it. That was why I took that portal there. It was because I was thinking, not sure we can actually end here. We might risk throwing. If we try, because it's just going to take so long for these minions to hit that turret. And the enemies were reviving soon. So in my eyes, the safest thing to do is just retreat. And by taking the portal, you know, my team have to follow my call, because now I can no longer help them even if I want to. And also, I should be able to afford Infinity Edge very, very soon. Can't remember how much gold it costs from here. 34.50. I guess 28.50, so I need 50 gold from here. Oh, and that should give me enough, right? Unless you... Oh, I remember. Yeah, so I realized at this point, we haven't seen the enemies in a while. I decided to use my ult to check if they're on the Baron. They are. Obviously, it's way too far. Yeah, that was pretty much on spawn, actually, wasn't it? Baron only spawns at 25 minutes, so... Good. It was a very good play from them, actually. Maybe something we could have watched out for. I don't know if maybe there was some indication on the map that they might have been going for that. But yeah, definitely us getting out the count for their Baron. Not worth. But oh well. Anyway, I got my Infinity Edge. Obviously, I don't know why my team ended up fighting there. But, I mean, Valko seems to be putting in some good work, at least. Oh, and this Ivan has another thing coming to him if he thinks he can run away. Does he realize who he's running from? Oh, I just remembered what happens, and that just makes what I said just look very silly, because, he didn't exactly run away, technically, he recalled away. But yeah, I think I kind of forgot that he had Baron buff. Like, even in the moment, I didn't try and spam my W into the brush as fast as I could, because it didn't occur to me he could just recall really fast. Oh, well. He couldn't outrun me, but he could out-recall me, I guess. Again, like, somewhat unsafe position here as a somewhat immobile ADC. But honestly, you're not really immobile with this build. I generally don't actually consider ADCs with high movement speed to be immobile, right? Like when I think of ADCs like Sivir and Xayah, both of them when they have their like passives activated, like the Xayah's W passive, like for example, the movement speed she gets on attack from W, that's a fairly mobile ADC in my eyes, you know, for as long as W lasts. And then same for Sivir, like maybe her passive doesn't really count by itself, but definitely when she's ulting, she is really fast. Like, maybe not really fast. She's a relatively mobile ADC, right? I mean, Jinx with this build, you know, any ADC running this build. Don't think I noticed Fiora was there. Let's see what we can do. Perfect. With Peel, we're able to survive. Yeah. When you're running this build on any ADC, like, you're just not really immobile. You have a decent amount of mobility just through movement speed. So, there's just a lot of scenarios where, yeah, usually... where you wouldn't be able to survive sometimes just because you're an immobile ADC, so that limits the amount of risks you can take. But you're not really immobile, so it does kind of change entirely what you can get away with. Yeah, and I just love that. It's a really fun build. Again, whether you're running Yuntal or Kraken Slayer, it doesn't really matter too much. Obviously, there's a slight difference in mobility there. I'm not sure if I noticed Aurora there. Yeah, I thought we were gonna end there, but yeah, slight difference in mobility there between running Kraken Slayer and Yuntal, but either way, you are ridiculously fast. Doesn't make a huge difference. You wanna just have the most movement speed possible. You do run the Kraken Slayer, but what it really should come down to is whether you want the early game power, or whether you want the scaling power, or even if you do prefer the scaling power of Yuntal, you know, sometimes it can still be smart to have that adaptability to go for the Kraken Slayer if the build path is just going to be so much more convenient for it, right? Clearly, it worked out really nicely for me this game as well, because I think the Kraken Slayer was actually really crucial for snowballing as hard as I did. I was able to win a lot of fights. Like, not all of them were close. There was that one 1v1 with Varus that was actually somewhat close. The rest of them weren't close in the sense that I was close to losing. But certainly if I had less damage, I might not have actually had kills out of those situations, you know? Like, Varus might have survived one point, then maybe the Braum would have survived at another point. If we can wipe out the enemies here, should be easy to end, so... Is it worth chasing the Ivern? Probably not. I end up choosing to help my team here in this immediate fight. It does leave a small risk though, because I could just get flanked by Ivern now. For whatever reason though, he just doesn't end up doing that. He just... I mean, if I was him, I would have tried to flank me, but... Gonna be some easy kills there. Now Fearo's the only one alive, so obviously this is just gonna be a very easy place to end the game from. So they just go ahead and surrender anyway. And yeah, so that is the movement speed build on Jinx. I've already ran this on other ADCs, obviously. So you might have seen videos about this before. This is the first time I run it on Jinx, but man, I just love this build. It is so fun, no matter what ADC you're running it on. I do think Jinx is one of the best ones. Other ADCs you can run it on off the top of my head are Aphelios. Yeah, I guess the exact same build works on Aphelios. Whether you're running Yuntal or Kraken Slayer, it doesn't really matter. Like, either way, it works on Aphelios as well. You can do it on Sivir, you can do it on Yunara. Those might be the only ones I've run it on. Oh, did I mention Sivir? No, I've definitely run it on Sivir as well with success. So, yeah, there's a lot of options. There's maybe other options as well that I haven't tried them on. I did try it on Caitlyn. That game didn't go so well, but I don't think it was because of the build. Still, I'm not sure it would be good on her. You could try it on her if you want. There's a lot of ADCs you could try it on that maybe it could be good on, but really could just be kind of troll. Yeah, it's up to you if you want to take the risk. Otherwise, just... If you want to take me on my word, I do think it is good on those 4 ADCs that I mentioned. Aphelios, Jinx, Yunara, Sivir. There probably are others though, but we'll see. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.